What's up guys, Romansliders here for a gaming rewind on the Panzer Dragoon series, initially developed by Team Andromeda, one of Sega's internal development studios, and published by Sega. The majority of the games are rail shooters and take place in a post-apocalyptic world, where people compete for land, resources and technology left behind by an ancient civilization. The most prevalent faction in the game world is the Empire, a militaristic regime that aims to control the world's resources. The name Panzer Dragoon comes from the concept designers referring to the series as Armored Dragon. However, the name was felt to be too generic, and so the decision was made to translate it to German. In addition, the series also features its own language called Panzerese, which is based on ancient Greek, Latin and Russian. The first game in the series, Panzer Dragoon, was released for the Sega Saturn in 1995 and the PC in 1997. It tells the story of Carl Fludge, who takes up the mission of a dragon rider to stop the Black Dragon from reactivating an ancient ruin. The game is a rail shooter, where the player controls a flying dragon and the rider, where the player has limited movement despite the predetermined path the player travels. The player has a complete 360-degree camera view, allowing you to see enemies from all directions from the on-screen radar. There are two weapons available, the handgun, which is held by the rider, and the homing laser that can lock up to 8 enemies, which is fired by the dragon. There are 6 levels, each ending with a boss fight and a final confrontation with the Black Dragon. A spin-off, Panzer Dragoon R-Zone, was developed for the Tiger R-Zone, an LCD portable games console, and was released a few months before the original Panzer Dragoon. The game has no plot and only features a nameless dragon rider trying to stop a black dragon from reaching a tower while battling robots. The official sequel, Panzer Dragoon 2, was released in 1996 for the Sega Saturn. The game is a prequel to the original, and centers around Jean-Luc Lundy, who discovers and raises a dragon, and must destroy an airship called Shelkoff, which is responsible for destroying Lundy's village. Like the original game, Panzer Dragoon 2 is a rail shooter, with new features such as the Berserk ability, where you are able to build up a gauge to unleash a powerful laser attack, as well as introducing multiple routes through levels. As a reward, if the player has performed well during a mission, then the dragon changes shape and evolves. Another spin-off titled Panzer Dragoon Mini was released for the Sega Game Gear in 1996 for Japan only. It is the only game in the series where the dragon does not have a rider and uses a super deformed graphical style instead of a more realistic appearance to cater to the technical limitations of the Game Gear. Panzer Dragoon Saga was released for the Sega Saturn in 1998 and is the only RPG in the series. The game tells the story of a soldier named Edge who attempts to free the world from the influence of the ancients with the help of a flying dragon. Gameplay is a mix of free-roaming exploratory levels, both on foot and on dragon, where the player must engage with a combination of puzzle solving and interaction with non-playable characters to further the story. For battles, the rail shooter mechanic from past titles has been adapted into traditional turn-based RPG battles similar to Final Fantasy, requiring strategy and outmaneuvering the enemy to win said battles. While combat is turn-based, movement takes place in real time. Like traditional RPGs, Panzer Dragoon Saga uses experience points gained from battles to upgrade the player's attributes, and like Panzer Dragoon 2, allows the dragon to evolve and change forms depending on which attributes are changed. Despite critical praise, Panzer Dragoon Saga was released late in the lifespan of the Sega Saturn, and so very few copies were produced. Panzer Dragoon Orta was released in 2003 for the Xbox, now developed by Smalbyte. The game focuses on Orta, a teenage girl who is freed from a life of slavery by a dragon, and embarks on a mission to not only discover her own origins, but bring down the oppressive empire. Panzer Dragoon Orta returns to the rail shooting roots of its predecessors. Dragons have a glide gauge, which allows them to speed up and slow down, with Orta's dragon being able to morph into 3 different forms, each with their own techniques. At the end of each episode, the player is ranked for performance and is assigned a grade, with S ranking being the highest. Furthermore, Panzer Dragoon Orta contains a number of unlockable bonus features, such as an encyclopedia of the game world, concept art, side missions, and a port of the original Panzer Dragoon. These unlockables are time sensitive, so after 20 hours of gameplay, everything is unlocked. The Panzer Dragoon series has featured in other media such as CD soundtracks for the games in Japan, and an anime adaptation of the first game, with the English version released by ADV Films. The Panzer Dragoon franchise brings a unique aspect to the rail shooter genre, with a richly detailed world that draws players in and continue to expand its horizons in subsequent outings that help the series to be remembered as a standout highlight of the Sega Saturn era. Well, that's the end of this gaming rewind. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. For updates, remember to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. So until next time, peace out guys.